Welcome to the Prospect Warehouse Podcast. This is your host, Tim Kanak. You can find me on the X at Fantasy Ace Ball. And of course, with us today for the first podcast of the week is your friend and mine, John Anderson at John PGH. What up, John?
Hey there. Yeah, we're in a nice flow here. Me and you on Wednesdays, and then you and Doc on Thursday nights. But we do got to get all three of us together again. Maybe I can join the next one. But we're doing on schedule. We haven't really missed two a week. We're doing well. Thanks to Tim. A lot of stuff going on. It's been fun.
Yes. Next week, I have a goal. I have days off because it's Thanksgiving. I want to do 3 podcasts next week. Try to get one in. Maybe if we get 2 weeks of 3. We'll kill a week early so that we can start getting into like dynasty rankings and stuff like that. And my updated top 150. So talking about some of the stuff that we're working on right now, my top 150, I have my rankings more or less ready to go, except I have to now go back and do all the write-ups. And a lot of the time when I'm doing the write-ups and like really doing deeper dives into the guys, I still flip guys around. So I have more or less the framework of my next top 150 rankings iteration for prospects, but I already know things will change as I'm doing the write-up stuff. So that will be happening. But if you're watching on YouTube right now, you can see a sample size because as I already mentioned, I'm also doing dynasty rankings. So I'm doing a 3-year dynasty ranking, a 5-year dynasty ranking, and then I'm also going to be doing like redraft rankings for like prospects and stuff for redraft. So I'm going to do my redraft rankings too. But on the left here, you can see the catcher rankings. I have more or less done a lot of these rankings, and now I have to just fit guys in for the 3-year, the 5-year windows and shuffle guys around.
So what's this?
Based on the window. That is a sample size of the 3-year catcher ranking right there. So you can see there at the top is Cal Raleigh. That should be pretty obvious, but it's interesting because he's 29. So 3-year rankings, he's still at the top. 5-year, maybe not. I'm going to be playing around with it more when I get to the 5 years. So when you're considering these rankings, I think, okay, what is this guy? What kind of production am I going to get over a 1, 2, and 3-year window? So if a guy is like Samuel Basallo and they're going to be starting, they're going to be ranked higher because they're going to be up for 3 years. If a guy is like awesome, but he's like 36 or 37 years old, you're probably going to be getting worse. Even if he's good now, like a Sal Perez, for instance, might be good this year in 2026, but then really are you going to expect better production in 2027 and 2028 because he's going to be downtrending in his career? Whereas like a guy like Basallo is going to be getting better throughout his career. So you have to consider like career arcs when you're doing a 3 or a 5-year ranking. So that means a younger guy is going to probably be doing better in the 5-year ranking, and an older guy is going to be doing worse because you might not even have him for the full 5 years. So that's why it's really good to have different windows of like how you want to play it. Because a lot of people, when you're playing Dynasty, you might think, okay, I really want to win within the first few years. Like, I don't really like 5 years. Who knows what's going to happen? I might be dead. Like, who knows? so yeah, you might not care about 5 years, but some people do. So that's why I'm doing for different windows in the dynasty ranking.
And you might be broke. Tim might be totally broke and homeless after some personal stuff. We're not going to get into it here, but yeah, you never know.
Yeah, after people sue me for car accidents that I was not even in, and because people like to just target.
You probably shouldn't talk about it for legal reason, but
probably not.
In my opinion, I'm not a dynasty expert yet. I mean, give me a couple weeks. Give me 2 rounds into this 30-round draft we're going to do, and then I'm going to start calling myself an expert. But we're going to talk about the Giants. But Cal Raleigh is a crazy sell high right now. I mean, if it was a dynasty league and I had Raleigh, I'd absolutely get rid of him right now. Like, it sounds a little crazy, I guess, but I don't know. 29-year-old off this absolutely unrepeatable year. I mean, just no chance he does anything like that again. I think there's probably a higher chance that he hits 30 homers next year than there is a chance that he hits 50. I mean, I don't think people would even agree with me on that, but yeah, that's the kind of stuff you have to consider. And pretty much in my mind, I guess easier said than done, but if I had a guy on a dynasty team that is coming off a really, 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 really good year, I would just trade him every time. Just like sell high every time. Get for the younger guys. You could probably get quite a haul for Raleigh, but it's cool that you have 3-year and 5-year, and those are coming out in the next few weeks, hopefully.
Yeah, I actually even posted like some polls of a couple trades I did in the Audio League, and I got smoked in both polls. It's kind of funny
because you gave up big major league names for prospects. Obviously, the the voters are gonna
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing you have to consider is like what is your salary, right? So like I was $150 over salary in that league, and I had to trade guys. So I traded Acuna and I traded Schwarber, and I got some nice young, really cheap pieces. And like it's that, or what do? You're going to cut them and get nothing. So like
right.
you know, and get nothing. I'd rather trade an Acuna who's $53 when I'm $150 over budget and get 3 top 30 prospects than
You got to do some salary dumping in certain dynasty leagues, which makes it a lot more interesting. And that's what our dynasty league will be like. If I can freaking figure, I'm like the commissioner now, so it's going to be a disaster, but it'll be fun.
You'll get it figured out. It'll be fine. You have enough support where you've got Doc and I to bounce questions.
I just know that we're going to run into a thing in the middle of the season that I didn't see coming, and there's going to be 2 parties involved, and one of them is going to get screwed. Like I just think for sure. I just hope it's me getting screwed, and because I'll take it and just like eat crow, but whatever. Let's talk about the news. We got news. It's news time. Free agency up. There's been some roster deadlines this week, and we saw a big trade last night. Actually, shout out to me. I got up this morning. And got into some news writing. I'm actually looking for somebody to kind of write some news stuff and whatnot. So if you're interested in that, there's a post on MLBDataWarehouse.com detailing that, taking some applications. But I call it the Offseason Monitor. And this was just me rambling. Like this is going to be my own little like soapbox. I mean, it's my freaking publication. I can do whatever I want. I can say whatever I want. And I like to take advantage of that. So this is my ramblings. There's nothing interesting or, whatever. I tried to, I just let it rip here. So, but anyway, I'm going to try to do more of that. Just like kind of react to the news, and again, looking for some people to help out on that front. But yeah, Grayson Rodriguez for Taylor Ward. Surprising, I guess. What was your takes, Tim?
Well, my first reaction was, oh no, don't block Dylan Beavers, because I love Dylan Beavers. Yeah. And I don't know if he can play center. He's a corner guy, and they already have Tyler O'Neill. So unless there's like a follow-up move here, or unless they're like, hey, Tyler O'Neill should probably be a DH because he's always hurt. But the thing is, then you have Basayo and Rutschman. So what are you going to do with that whole situation? So I don't know. They created a roster crunch. I feel like they keep adding offense when they really need pitching, and it makes no sense. Like, why are you signing Tyler O'Neill? Why are you trading for Taylor Ward? You have all these hitting prospects, and then you're just adding offense instead of pitching. So I don't really understand it from the Orioles' perspective, though I'm just going to assume based on this trade, because Grayson Rodriguez has such a high ceiling. He's way younger, probably cheaper. Like, it doesn't really make sense to me unless there's a really bad underlying injury issue.
For sure. That's for sure.
They probably disclosed it to the Angels too. Like, you almost have to disclose that. And then
I joked about it in this post that you apparently don't have to disclose it until after you have an agreement, but before it's finalized, you have to give all that out. So I made a joke like, they let him along and they didn't really tell him the whole story. And then they got the Angels excited about getting Grayson Rodriguez. And you know how that, like Ward for Rodriguez in the Angels perspective, Ward's a free agent after this year. That's a no-brainer. They probably got really excited. They were like, oh man, we're about to land. And then the Orioles sneak it in, like, oh, by the way, his elbow. He doesn't have a bone in his elbow anymore. Like, we had to take that out. Like, the guy can't even pick up. And then they're like, I don't know, whatever. Just go for it. Like, we're set on it. I don't know. For me, it's, if there's any logic, you have to assume that obviously that not all front offices are equally competent, but you do have to assume that these guys know what they're doing. They're not doing total idiot stuff, even though the fans like to think that. It's a testament to the Orioles' lack of confidence in Rodriguez, because it makes no sense. I mean, the Orioles' big problem is starting pitching. They don't have an issue in the outfield, certainly, but offensively overall, like, that's not their issue. So to me, it's just like, I would count on it. I would downgrade Grayson Rodriguez significantly in the ranks because of this, just because it's kind of the Orioles saying, yeah, we don't think this trade's going to bite us at all. So.
Yeah, it's also, I mean, even if he is healthy, he's now moving to a worse ballpark too. So you have to consider that is LA is a hitter-friendly ballpark, and Baltimore is not. So he's going to be moving to a worse ballpark for him. So even if he does come into the year healthy, just something to consider. Ready to get into the San Francisco Giants here, John?
Yeah, I mean, I'm tempted to keep on the news thing and talk about, I'm sure, what you saw, the great news about my Pittsburgh Pirates. The Pittsburgh Pirates had the greatest offseason day in franchise history yesterday without doing a single thing, just by saying, we're interested in Schwarber, and then having Jeff Passan confirm that. Just a massive day in Pirates fandom. I mean, this is where you're at if you're a Pirates fan. We're celebrating the fact that the Pirates said we might entertain the thought of possibly signing a good player. Nobody thinks it's going to happen, but I don't know. It's been years and years and years. Actually, I don't think it's ever happened. I've never heard even them say, yeah, we're in on fill in the blank, actual good free agent player. Again, not going to happen, but maybe a sign of something positive happening to get some bats in the Pirates. So of course, I hear that little tiny bit, tiny shimmer, tiny glimmer of light and hope. And all of a sudden I'm like getting excited for the Pirates again, which is terrible, but I guess you just can't kick what you grew up with, your childhood teams. They never go away. So
I heard on that note, foul territory the other day. They were saying that apparently the Pirates would also be interested in extending Connor Griffin and starting him this year. That's the only way Connor Griffin's playing this year, in my mind, is if they extend him on like a Braves like contract. They give him like an Acuna type contract, right? Where he's underpaid forever, but it's like at least he's gonna get paid a little bit up front.
They did it with McCutchen and Gregory Polanco. One of those worked better than the other, but it's something they've done.
Yeah, I think that is the only way that we see Connor Griffin early this season.
But if they sign, if they do go for some free agents and actually, because everybody kind of agrees that the Pirates are 2 to 3 bats away from competing. So if that happens, then yeah, if it's May and clearly he's the best shortstop in the organization, then I think they do. But yeah, I'd still be.
What would be more exciting to you as a Pirates fan? If you sign Kyle Schwarber for 4 years and $135 million or whatever, or if you extend Connor Griffin for like 8 or 9 years?
Nothing is more exciting than signing Kyle Schwarber. Yeah, because I mean Griffin's a Pirate for 7 years at least, no matter what, or 5 years, whatever. So for sure, the free agent, even landing Eugenio Suarez or something like that, like that would be the greatest thing to ever happen for the Pirates. Even better than drafting. Well, okay. Skeens is the greatest thing that's happened in a long time, but signing a multi-year free agent that can actually like even a 110 WRC plus hitter, that's just throw a parade, like have a parade, do it right away. I don't care, just take advantage of it. So let's get off the Pirates though.
Giants time. All right, San Giants.
Here we go.
You gotta get the right screen up, John. Get those Giants up. San Francisco Giants. Before we get into the top 20. I put a note on here. This is the first time I've done it. You see it. Bonus shortstop, Livan Hernandez, international. The reason that he's not on the top. Yeah.
Is that El Duque or is that Contreras?
Yeah, there's another Tim typo right there. It's actually Luis Hernandez. But Luis Hernandez is the top international signee, like pretty like across the board. And he's a Venezuelan shortstop, and he has not signed yet with the Giants. But it's like strongly expected that he's going to be signing with the Giants.
Okay.
And that's pretty interesting because the Giants also got Joswar Gonzalez last year, who was the top guy. So it might be back-to-back years of the Giants getting like the top international signee. But Luis Hernandez is a very exciting hitter. He is, I have him as a top 150 prospect already, and he would be number 5 on this list.
Okay.
So if he does sign with the Giants, he would be number 5 ahead of Bresnahan. So that's how high I am on Luis Hernandez as a hitter. So it's kind of like a lot of these guys are the same way, right? You get these like they all come up as shortstops, all these top international guys, right? So it doesn't matter whatever position they play, it doesn't matter how tall they are, like they're all gonna be a shortstop when they first come up.
Yeah. And
he also is 6'1", 211 pounds. So he's like kind of a athletic dude. So that's Luis Hernandez, international signee. So just wanted to mention him off the bat. Number 20. So let's get into the team.
Yeah, let's rip through some of these since we're already 15 minutes in. Let's have a little quicker pace.
Number 20 is Josh Bostic, starting pitcher. He's in high A. He did have a good season last year, but he was 23 years old in high A, so a little bit old for the level. Josh Bostic. But he had a near 20% K minus walk rate. So one of the things that you'll find if you're looking between stats is that Fangraphs gave him a 20.3% K minus walk, and we have on Data Warehouse 18.2. So there is a difference, but that's also because I'm using the slider wrong.
No, I have 2 years.
19.9 on the season last year. So there's a slight difference between 20.3 and the 19.9.
So yeah, my thing won't like just real quick about that. There will be differences, especially in like swinging strike rate. There's different ways to calculate that as well. But my dashboards, the main dashboards, do not like count the automatic walks and but like if you don't throw a pitch, if there's an intentional walk or if there's a pitch violation stuff, like a lot of that stuff won't make it in because it's a pitch by pitch data set and we'll miss a lot of plate appearances. So there will be small differences all over the place, but the numbers should be all close and there's good reasons for it. But
yep. So Bostic, even though he had a good year, decent F scores, 103 stuff, 111 control, 100 ERA, but he was old for the level. So that's just like the main thing to consider is he was older for the level. We don't have Arsenal data. Like, was he really good or was it he was just beating up on younger kids, right? So that's where we're at with Josh Bostic. Number 19 is Drake George, another starting pitcher. So like we said, we're going to fly through some of these guys. So if you want to just kind of pull them up real quick on the thing, each guy, as we're talking about them. So Drake George is going to have a little bit of more stuff, I think, even though the stuff is still similar. 100 stuff score, 118 control, 112 ERA. He actually rates better as the FERA on this, but he has a higher CSW. And the only thing that is interesting about Drake George is same kind of thing here. He's 23 years old in A-ball. But I kind of like his pitches a little bit better. He's got a little more velocity than Bostic. So I give George kind of the edge, even though he's a smaller dude, 6'1", where Bostic's 6'4". Like I'm always going to, if like guys are kind of similar, where they're both old for the level, they both had similar kind of stats on the season, but Drake George has better velocity. That's going to give him the edge in the ranking for me, right? So that brings us to number 18, Trevor McDonald. This is a guy who played in MLB this year. I think he's probably in there. He might be in their rotation. It kind of depends on what they do with like Wiesenhunt, because like Wiesenhunt was kind of on the outs. You got Birdsong still hanging around. He had a bad year. Like probably I think he had the worst command in baseball last year. Hayden Birdsong. Yeah. Like if you're looking at like F scores, I think he had the worst F control in all of baseball, even worse than Joe Boyle. So that's kind of fun. But yeah, that's his MLB stuff right there, right? For McDonald, or is that his MLB?
This was here. This is the box score dashboard. So yeah, he went to the majors and threw 15 innings, moderate success, good walk rate. In the minors, he had a 23% K, 10% walk, 5.31 ERA, gave up some homers and stuff. But these over here are the prospect numbers.
Yeah. Well, actually had a 3% walk last year. So he made in 2024, he pitched 3 innings in the majors and pitched 15 last year. One in relief, two were starts. So are they going to make him a starter or a reliever? Don't really know, but he's had good command basically at every level. But yeah, you're showing the stuff right there. Like fastball, 7.6% swing strike rate is subpar. Yeah, only 93.5. So he doesn't have a great fastball, but the slider's good, right? Like good slider and good changeup. So he's got at least 2 good breaking pitches. So it's kind of like with this arsenal, sinker, slider, changeup, fastball is like the 4th pitch. Is he a reliever or is he more like a swingman type? I think probably he's like a 5th starter / swingman type. Like he'd be lucky really maybe to be a 5th starter, but F-score's kind of like him. Like that's not bad. 97 stuff, 103 control, 104 FERA. Like there are worse pitchers in the major starters in the major leagues than that. So could he be a starter? Yeah, I think so. Is he going to be a starter in a 12-team fantasy league? No, that you want. But in a 30-teamer, yeah, that's a dude that you'll take. So Trevor McDonald, just an interesting name to watch here at number 18, I think, as a depth guy. Number 17, Joe Whitman. So if you want to pull up Whitman, a lot of pitchers right here.
Yeah, we're starting with 4.
And one of the weird things, this is one of the things with the Giants organization, is a lot of their guys are old for the level. They promote very, very slowly. So Joe Whitman, you can see here another guy, 24 years old next year. and he was in Double-A this year. He's at least at a more closer age to level gap. Didn't have as good of a year as if you're looking only at the statistics as some of the guys that we've already talked about. But Joe Whitman does have some pedigree. He was a second rounder at one point out of Kent State. He did get some signing bonus money. Again, he's in a more advanced level, and he pitched a lot better. If you pull up his JAERA, I'm sure is way better than what his ERA was. So 3.47 JAERA, where he had a 5.29 ERA. So a lot better than what the back of the baseball card is going to say. He had some nice swinging strike rates in 2024, worse in 2025. But he still managed a 15K minus walk. So I think Whitman, and he's a lefty too, has a little more to build upon. Like, we don't have the Arsenal data that we just showed with McDonald, but I think that the stuff from what I've seen looks a little bit better just from a visual standpoint. So that'll give him the edge in my rankings. Now, next, 16, Nate Furman. This is a guy I like, even though, again, very, very old for the level. So Nate Furman, a second baseman, he had a killer season. He's gonna have fun F scores here. He was a beast this year. If we get F scores on him, because he only played 36 games. Let's see if we have enough sample size for F scores. Look at that. 24 years old, and he played in low A, high A, and double A. So he moved through 3 levels this year, and he only played in 36 games. I'm not sure what injury he had. He played at the end of the year, and he really popped on like my end of the year, week to week stuff. But he walked more than he struck out this year. So 16% walk rate and only an 11% K rate. So that's great. Contact rates, 89% contact rate on the total on the year. Sick.
That's crazy.
So that's why he's got a 104 hit tool and a 133 discipline. Then he's got a 95 power, 101 speed, which are not bad, right? Like 36 games, he had 7 bombs and 3 steals. So that's okay. Like 100% stolen base success rate. So that's also not bad. So it's not like he's like doing dumb things on the base pass, but small sample size. So how much will he steal over a fuller sample size? Maybe he's a 10 steal guy. But if you got a 15 homer, 10 steal guy with contact rates like that, and he walks more than he strikes out, that's an awesome points league player. I mean, like, yeah, he's 24, so he's old for the level, but they moved him fast. So that's one of the things that kind of intrigues me still about him, is that, like, they got him. He was with the Guardians last year in 2024, and so they got him. I don't know what trade they got him in, but they brought him over from the Guardians, and when he was healthy this year, they moved him fast up the levels. So maybe the Giants really like this guy. Like, maybe there's a chance, because he is 24, and that he's going to be up earlier next year. Because, I mean, like, who do the Giants really have blocking him? Tyler Fitzgerald right now. Tyler Fitzgerald was not good last year. So I think there's a possibility that Furman could debut. Alex Cobb trade. Look at that.
He was the PTBNL.
To be determined later.
Yes. So.
Yeah. I like Furman, though. Interesting dude.
Freshman. Spoiler alert. We're down on this new guy. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
That is interesting. 38% swing rate. It's extremely, extremely low. I think just to put a number on that, let's go to the major league data. I wanted to say that the lowest in the majors was like 36% or something like that, but let's see. We'll have to go to like a couple hundred plate appearances. 36%. So that's really, really low and not advisable in my opinion, but obviously it's not something that's hard to change. You can just do it overnight. Just start swinging. So yeah, good for walks. But we talked about kind of with the Lars Nootbaar example that you always bring up, like bad for counting stats, get bad for power a little bit, but something you can easily change as we mentioned. So.
Yeah, maybe a future Jacob Wilson light. Like, he's probably older than Jacob Wilson, so that's kind of funny to say. But he might be able to do like Jacob Wilson-esque things across town here. I guess across former town.
Right.
Yeah. So next on the list here is outfielder Carlos Gutierrez. Gutierrez, again, old for the level, 21-year-old, spent the whole year at low A. It's just the Giants. It's just what they do. I don't really understand why. But he's good on the base pass and seems to have a pretty solid hit tool and then also good plate skills. If you want to bring him up, John, on there we go. 104 hit, 119 discipline, 111 speed. Power's kind of light. He only had 2 homers on the season, but he did get a 97 power score is not bad for a guy with only 2 homers. But you could see 82% contact rate, and he was good on the base pass, 90% stolen base success rate, and 26% attempt rate. So the dude does move on the base pass. He has good contact, and he almost walked more than he struck out too. So he has a 12.6% walk and a 13.7 K on the season. So that's pretty good. Like, I think he's a really interesting name to watch. It's just like, I just don't like how he's 21 at A ball. You know what I mean? Like, he should have played at high A this year. Like, he should have been a guy where they looked at him and they were like, hey, this guy's doing really well in low A. Maybe around the All-Star break or in August,
he stopped.
He bumped to high A.
Well, it looks like he stopped playing in June.
Oh, he got hurt.
Yeah.
See, and we have no injury update. There's no injury note on him at all on Fangraphs, so don't even know what happened to him.
And it's the first time I've ever seen it. The ID thing, I put everybody's ID number by their name so we get rid of the duplicates. This dude ended up with the ID number on there twice. I have no idea how that happened. He's unbelievable. The script was like, I got to slap this on there twice. That's something. I don't have to fix it. It's fine, but wow, weird.
Number 14 is Carson Whisenhunt. He's a big-time faller in the rankings. He was definitely like top 10 before the year. I liked him a lot a couple of years ago. And then last year when he was in AAA the majority of the season, or like, I think, almost the whole season he spent in AAA, I kind of like attributed a lot of his bad ERA to PCL, because in 2024 he had a 17.2 K- walk rate and then like a 5-something ERA. So I'm like, that's just Pacific Coast League beating him up, right?
Yeah.
But this year he was worse. He like got worse. He was much worse in AAA. The K rate dropped like 8%. So K rate got worse. Swing strike rate dropped like 3%. And then he went to the majors and was terrible with only a 3.9 K- walk in the majors. And at that point, over 23 innings, it's not a full sample size, but it's enough of a sample size to say this is not just a Pacific Coast League problem. There's like actually something in the profile here to not like. Like, look at the F scores. The major league F scores are terrible there.
Yeah.
86, 87 stuff and an 86 FERA.
43% strike rate is so bad. Again, like, it could come up in a hurry with only 23 innings, but if you're seeing a strike rate on my dashboards, keep in mind that strike rate is different if you look at other sources, because I do it right and other people do it in a weird, stupid way. But you need at least a 47% strike rate to have any chance, and you'd really like it to be 50% or higher. 43% is really bad, and that's even in 23 innings, like 408 pitches. Like, that's enough of a sample for me to be like, this isn't looking good at all. So
yeah, and go to the Arsenal, John. You can see in the Arsenal that
major leagues or minors. This is
well, you could go to either, but you can see that the changeup is the only good pitch through both. Yeah. So the minors, a 20.5% swing strike rate. Actually, the slider was already in the minors, but go to the majors. I think the majors, it showed that the changeup was a 20.4, and all the slider dropped down to a 6% swing strike rate. So
he didn't even really want
to throw
it. 15%.
Yeah, the slider was not successful in the majors, only in the minors. And sinker changeup, it's like you're not going to win on one good pitch. So it doesn't. You can have a killer changeup, but if you don't have anything else,
is he righty?
Not going to work.
Oh, he's a lefty.
Majors.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a lefty.
Yeah, he was really good against left-handed hitters. Probably only faced a few of them, but righties had no trouble at all. There was a -6 point K- walk to righties, so that was absolute disaster. Wouldn't expect to see him much.
Yeah, I would say that they're going, because he is a high pedigree guy, he's probably going to get another chance here to prove himself and see if he can fix his bad year last year, which is why I didn't knock him off the list entirely. But maybe if that doesn't work, he goes to the pen and it's just heavy changeup. Yeah, like you can't do loogie anymore, but basically
I was going to say that. Yeah,
from like a loogie. Yeah. So
rest in peace, loogies, man. Oliver Perez, what a career. That guy made a like 20-something year career out of being able to do one thing, and they changed the rules, and it was sayonara. Too bad. Yeah,
he was awesome. He was around forever. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Number 13 is outfielder Walker Martin. Another example of a guy who is way too old for the level. A low A only as a 21-year-old shortstop. But I like Walker Martin on the F scores is pretty neutral. Like he scores as a 97 hit, 107 power, 99 discipline, 101 speed, which is good for a solid 101. So he's slightly above average, basically, as a ball player. But Walker Martin has a lot of pedigree. We don't have EV numbers and stuff from him, but like when he was down in complex, and I think before even he was drafted, he was known as like a high potential guy, like a lot of good exit velocities, stuff like that, like a big riser. He was seen as one of these guys that could be a big riser, and he was hurt, not last year, but 2024 he was hurt, so that probably slowed his career arc down a little bit. But I think Walker Martin's a nice name to watch here, and like I wouldn't be out on him as a 6'2", 188 shortstop with, average skills to date, and, decent amount of pedigree behind him still.
Lives up to his namesake with a high walk rate. Good for him.
Yep. High Ks too, unfortunately, though.
Walker, yeah, we should call him Walker Strikeoutman or something like that. One thing I've added for those of you who have access to the dashboard, I put some sliders here. I don't know if you noticed this, Tim. I didn't tell you, but now you can filter to guys. Let me see the guys with a bunch of speed and a little bit of power, kind of put filters on there and it'll filter that. So that was for my own use and just identifying some guys to target in drafts and whatnot. So I did that for majors and minors, pitchers and hitters. So a little bit of a improvement there.
Yeah, which is awesome because if you're falling behind in steals or something like that, then you can just easily sort speed and see who has a good plate approach with good speed.
Right, yeah, put them together. So. Yeah, I like mixing those two things together. Like maybe you're not worried about hit tool or whatever. You don't really care about batting average. So you can kind of forget that, but there's filter to the guys that do multiple things that you like or whatever. So
yeah, exactly. Number 12 is Blade Tidwell. Blade Tidwell is another guy who has debuted. The Giants got him from the Mets in a trade. Blade Tidwell, another pedigree guy. I think it was a second rounder out of Tennessee. If I'm not mistaken. Yes, second rounder out of Tennessee. Got that one dead on the spot here. But he played in 4 games last year, John, 2 starts, 2 relief appearances. And he's pretty interesting because the stuff scores like him. I always liked him in the minors.
I remember Eno Sarah saying that this guy had the highest stuff plus in the minors. He was a Met. Yeah, so he does have stuff, 96 mile-an-hour fastball. But go ahead.
And something interesting with him is he ran when he came over from the Mets to the Giants, PCL this year in AAA for the Giants in PCL at 27.9 K minus walk rate with a 17% swinging strike rate. So he was pretty beast like in the minors this year. Last year he had a really bad AAA. So last year in the minors he was really good in AA and then struggled a lot when he got to AAA. And I don't know what's up with the Mets AAA. All their guys struggle with AAA for whatever reason. Even McLean ran into bumps at AAA for the Mets. So I don't know what's up with their stadium or what, but the Mets AAA is not great. Or maybe their pitching coach there sucks or something. I don't really know. But as soon as he came over to San Francisco, he was fire. So, it'll be interesting to see what he can do with the Giants in the pros this year. Because I think he only pitched for the Mets in the pros last year. He did not. I don't think he made an appearance for the Giants actually once the trade went down.
15 innings with the Mets. They were not good. 10 strikeouts, 10 walks in 15 innings. But let's be patient with him, I suppose.
Yeah, and what were his minor league F score numbers? If you want to throw them up there real quick. So 107 stuff, 108 control, 104 FERA. I think there's a lot to like here. I love the fastball. Look at that fastball. Anytime I see a 10-inch plus vertical movement on that fastball, that's a win. And then he throws it 96 to boot. 9.3 swing strike is fine.
Shit. I just hit keep only. I hate that button.
Strike rate. Yeah, 43% strike rate. So he's not getting in the zone as much, but it's got a lot of good movement to it. So at least it has good characteristics.
I got to refresh. There's a button there that you hit and it just jacks everything up. So let's keep going.
Yep, no worries. So we can move on to number 11, Carson Seymour. This is another guy who's debuted. So you can see a lot of these guys are like pretty close to the majors here with the Giants. A lot of older guys. Like we haven't really gotten any young guys except for Luis Hernandez, who hasn't even signed yet with them. But Carson Seymour, again, the F scores like him. 101 stuff, 103 control, 107 ERA. So we got a decent player here. Carson Seymour, 6'6". So you love that. One of the things about Seymour, though, is, again, he's a type of guy who's going to be kind of more like a kitchen sink guy than anything else. So you can see the major leagues there, 19% on the slider on the swinging strike rate. Fastball, 11.6% is pretty good on a fastball. So fastball is generally going to be your worst swinging strike rate pitch. John, what's your average major league swinging strike rate on a fastball?
You can see it right here. Four seamer, yeah, it's like had 10%, 10.6%.
Yeah, 10.6. So he's above average fastball. It's not like, world beating or anything, but it's above average. So he's got a couple of decent pitches here, and he throws, 5 of them if you go back to him on the pitch thing. So sinker, fastball, slider, cutter, curve. So 5 pitches. Cutter's not great, but maybe he develops something new this offseason. I think there's enough there with the fastball and the slider alone that we have a pretty decent player here.
29% home run fly ball. These are the luck.
Yeah, great ground ball rates, man. Look at the ground balls. 51% ground ball rate total.
Yeah, he was pretty unlucky with the long ball, especially in San Francisco. I don't know how many of those were given up at home, but this is the triple play of luck stats: BABIP, home run to fly ball, and run in scoring position hit rate. The worst named stat I've ever come up with, but that's very similar to left on base or strand rate. Averaged 21%. So he was actually kind of good at that one. He only gave up 13% of his hits with men in scoring position, but 29% home run to fly ball is like crazy high. So some bad luck there. 43% strike rate again, though, like just like not really earning strikes, but again, pretty small sample and some reason to believe, but I wouldn't be buying in on him too much just from what we saw last year.
Yeah. 10, Lisbel Diaz, outfielder. So we're in the top 10 now. Lisbel Diaz, as I'm losing my internet connection. Lisbel Diaz was an A-ball only last year, and he has some interesting tools. So that's why I give him the bump to some of these other guys, is because there's a little bit more power, a little bit more speed there, even though the plate skills may not be as good. So 77% contact leads to a 104 hit, 103 power, 111 speed. But you see only a 94 discipline because the guy never walks, which, that's okay sometimes. 81% stolen base success rate. So that means that he's probably going to keep running because he's been pretty decent at actually getting the bags. So there's a little bit more power here against a guy like Gutierrez, who we talked about earlier, and against a guy like Walker Martin. There's less swing and miss to Walker Martin and a little more base running ability. So that's why I give Lisbel Diaz the edge to those two guys.
Works for me.
Yep. Number 9. This is a guy I really like. Luis De La Torre. This guy's a ton of fun besides the name. That's actually like a cool name too. But Luis De La Torre, he really caught fire at the end of the season. And I actually picked him in the Toolshed mock that we've been referencing. So this is a dude that I got in Toolshed mock. He pitched complex and A-ball this year as a 21-year-old. Again, Giants go old. F scores love him. Look at that. 118 F stuff, 120 F control, 120 F ERA. Now, the durability is a 55 because he only pitched in 74 innings this year. But the dude rocked a 25 K- walk and a 18.7 swinging strike rate. So pretty crazy stuff. You got 17.2, Fangraphs is 18.7, but whatever. You know why? It's because you're not getting his complex numbers, and they are. That's the difference.
Yeah.
But you can see that he did not pitch the whole season. He started in complex, came up around July, started pitching. This is a guy who's going to be a builder next year. What he's going to be doing next year is building innings. So that's going to be the goal with a guy like this, because he's 6 foot. He's only 6 foot, 188. So he's not a big dude, but he's fun. Love his fastball. Big time fastball guy. We don't have Arsenal data here since he was on the West Coast instead of in Florida. I would love to have Arsenal data. Maybe, John, is there a way to pull Arsenal data from spring training for any of these guys that debut in spring training? Is there a way to get that?
Yeah. Well, if they play one, not all the spring training facilities have the tracking stuff, but yeah, we get that every spring.
Yeah, that'd be awesome if we could try to plug some of that in. So, but Luis De La Torre, you can see F scores love him. Fun dude. We don't have the Arsenal data, so don't want to bump him too high yet. 21 at A-ball, but he was phenomenal this year. So, number 8.
How into you? I seem to have a unique interest in etymology. Like studying the words and stuff. And I just now had the realization that there's a ton of these de la. Ellie de la Cruz, all the de las, which means of the. So then I looked up, you got all these de la, which means of the. and Torre means tower. So this guy's name is Luis of the Tower, which is cool. I don't know, like it tells you something. I wonder what the first guy to name himself De La Torre must have been a tower guy or something.
A Castellan, like a cat. They're in charge of the watchtower or whatever.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's just so. What does cruz mean in Spanish or whatever? Of the cross. Oh, okay. So
probably a former monk.
Christian symbolism. Yeah. How about that? That's fun. De La. So anytime you say De La now, you know it means of the, and their name is telling you something about the person it originated from. So probably nobody cares, but I get a kick out of that stuff.
It means Ellie de la Cruz's great grandfather was probably like some Spanish monk or whatever who came over to try to convert the people in the Caribbean, and boom, there you go.
Ellie of the Cross. That's what I'll start calling him.
I like it. 8. You need a Jesus de la Cruz.
That would be that'd be like blasphemous. I don't think you could do that.
Probably. Well, I mean, there are Jesuses in the MLB, so I don't know. The number 8 is Dakota Jordan. So Dakota Jordan, outfielder, he's a big-time riser this year. And again, old guy, 22 years old, who only played an A-ball, but he had a really nice season. 14 bombs and 27 steals in A-ball. So again, he gets a bump to some of the plate discipline guys because I like the power speed combo. So you can see here an over 110 power and a over 110 speed is nice to have on the F score. So 103 hit, 112 power, 119 speed. Contact is only 71%. And he does walk a little bit, but he also strikes out more than Lisbel Diaz. But I like Dakota Jordan, fun athlete here. And he was drafted in the 4th round out of Mississippi State. So there is a little bit of pedigree. They paid him almost $2 million out of the 4th round, too. So this is one of those guys that is picked and paid a decent amount of money to come over, even though he's like a later pick, instead of maybe like going back to the draft, Kumar Rocker style or whatever.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So fun name to watch for, even though he's only an A-ball. Number 7 is a guy that everybody knows, probably Drew Gilbert. So he's done his major league debut. Former Met again. I think he and Blade Tidwell came over in the same trade, I want to say. But Drew Gilbert, he's gonna have his former coach. Maybe that makes him better. Do you think that's gonna make him better having his old college coach as his new MLB coach?
Maybe they didn't get along. I mean, he's probably the best player on the team. I bet the coach.
Well, did you see during his press conference, he said, the Giants hired me to babysit Drew Gilbert. Was like the first thing he said in his press conference. Yeah. So I think that they probably do get along. So Drew Gilbert, pretty interesting player, kind of rates out as like a nice number 3 outfielder or something like that in a fantasy league. Pretty average-ish tools across the board for a young guy that could develop into something more. So you had the F scores up there. 98 hit, 108 discipline, 112 power, 95 speed. So he had pretty good zone contacts. So that actually kind of portends to maybe having a better hit tool than the 98 that we got. Because the zone contacts are good, maybe it's a little more aggressive in the zone, and that plays up a little bit better. Exit velocities are good. 105.6, 90th is above average. 110 max is above average. And he was a former top 100 prospect. So there was a time a couple of years ago where Drew Gilbert was seen as like a really, really highly rated prospect. And he kind of, I don't know, petered out, I guess would be the word, in the Mets system. And like I said, there's something with the Mets AAA. As soon as guys hit the Mets AAA system, they just kind of like they plateau out and they don't get better. So I think coming over to the Giants is going to be a good thing. We saw him debut with the Giants this year and he was decent. And then his little major league small sample size here. So I think Drew Gilbert has good things coming. I think that there's more to look forward to with Drew Gilbert now that he has changed organizations, like change of scenery is going to be a good thing for him.
Yeah,
what do you think about Drew Gilbert?
9 plate appearances. Got over that. Looks like a little bit of trend upward here. Really bad for his first few, but I like guys, as we've talked about, who kind of get that major league experience the year before, even if they struggle, get those 100 plate appearances out of the way. As we've talked about, that's one of the MLBDW 10 commandments, and he qualifies there. I don't know if he has not the most exciting profile down there, but yeah, it should be someone definitely in play for the opening day roster, and always good to get that experience out of the way. So that's somewhat interesting. Definitely a deep league consideration. Let's see, is anybody touching him in NFBC right now?
Oh, they have to be.
Yeah, 600. Some of these drafts, some of these dots are huge now. I like mess with the dot size yesterday, and just for some of them it jacked it way up, and some of them it didn't. So I don't know how to fix that. So some of these NFBC drafts go 750 picks deep. So that's where you're seeing them in the draft champions. But got into the top 600 once or twice here, so interesting.
Yeah, I think that, if you look at the back of the baseball card stuff, this is going to be a good buying opportunity for Gilbert, because anyone who's looking at, look at that batting average and stuff, his contact stuff that he had in the majors was pretty good. He did hit the ball on the ground a little too much, but he had a 205 BABIP. So that's just a killer. Having a 205 BABIP only, like that means that's like a screaming buy. That's just bad luck, basically, in the majors. And like you said, 100 at bats on the dot is what he got out of the way. So I think right now is a screaming buy for Drew Gilbert is like a nice deep league option.
Got to handle lefties a little bit better. But.
Yep. Number 6, Gavin Killen was their their first round pick. And again, Tennessee. So I don't know. There's like a good Tennessee connection here with the Giants right now. Like they're getting all these Tennessee guys, and then they take their coach too. So I don't know how, like if that was a plan, like I don't, because the draft happened way before Vitello ever was signed.
Yeah.
So it's
that is a little
I don't know how
suspicious.
and they traded for all these Tennessee guys also from the Mets. Like Blade Tidwell, Tennessee guy, Drew Gilbert, Tennessee guy. So in the same trade, they trade for all these Tennessee guys. So it's like, was something here? I don't know. Like with Buster Posey and him before, like they had to have something. I don't know.
Orange, they don't orange. The guys like orange. I don't know.
Yeah. so Killen, they paid $5.2 million for out of the draft. Second baseman, didn't have the best debut season here in A-ball. Like he wasn't great, but again, 235 BABIP. So it's like he showed good plate skills, bad BABIP. It was only 10 games. He had no homers and no steals. So nothing really to write home about, but an 85% contact rate. So I actually like Killen a lot. Let me see where I've got him in FYPD here. I don't think I have him top 150, but I think I had him right outside. Let's see where I had him. Yeah, I had him in the top 175. So he's like right outside of my top 150 right now. But I have him at 27 for FYPD. He was picked 13th in the draft. But remember, in FYPD, we're going to be bringing in our Japanese players and our international guys. So that's going to kind of clog up. You don't want to be just like, 13, 27. That means you don't really like him that much. I actually do like him, but I've got him at 27. So just a note on where I've got him in the FYPD here for Gavin Killen. Number 5, Jacob Bresnahan. Let me see if I've got him in my top 150. He might have made my top one. Yeah, no, I got him at 162. So he's right in that 150 to 175 range. Bresnahan had a really good year this year. The platoon splits are kind of weird, right? You see right there, 278 JA ERA against righties, 409 against lefties. As a lefty, so he's got like kind of a reverse platoony thing going on. Once we get some pitch movement data from him and some Arsenal data, we'll be able to probably pinpoint why that happens. But generally, when that happens, as a lefty throwing to a lefty, it just means that maybe has like too much movement on his pitches for, for lefties, where like he's throwing his slider too far outside because he doesn't want to hit the guy or something, and then it just like swings all the way outside of the box or something like that. There we got the video so we can see why, maybe if we see him against the lefty. But I'm a big Bresnahan guy. He had a big year this year. Let's see here.
Big guy. Like Snellish.
Yeah, for sure. So he's 6'6", so yeah. He is kind of his Snellish. I like that. So Bresnahan, good year, 21.3 K minus walk rate, over 16% swinging strike rate. Pulling back up on the scores here. I like getting the video in there. But 117 stuff, 108 control, 109 FERA for Bresnahan. So I like him a lot. Throws the ball in the zone. You see almost 50% strike rate. So throwing the ball in the zone too is a big thing for a young guy.
Sure.
Yep. So he's in the top 5. So number 4, Johnny Level. Johnny Level did make my top 150. Let me see where I have him here.
Johnny, like Johnny,
yeah, like Johnny Peralta. Yeah. So he is number 107 in my updated rankings loosely before they come out. But
18 years old.
Yes, he was in complex for the majority of the season, so we don't have full F scores on him. All we have is a 102 hit and a 109 speed. We don't have the other data. He does have good exit velocities from the minors. You can see his stolen base rate was not good at A-ball, but I think there is some speed here. Nice profile. You can see 11% walk, about 20% K. I'm not really concerned about the ISO or anything like that for him. Because he was transitioning from complex to A-ball. So this is going to be like really his like bump season. Knowing the Giants, he'll probably spend the whole season in A-ball just because they're so slow to promote people. But Johnny Level is a really nice name to watch. He was a signee out of Venezuela. So I like Johnny Level. 12 home runs and 21 steals across both levels last year.
Needs to... I mean, this is the weight. The weights are really not reliable here, but
no, dude. Yeah, there's no way he's look. You just had his picture up there. He's not 154 pounds.
I mean, here you could see. I don't know. Like, I'm sure if he was, then he certainly isn't anymore. I'm sure that's something teams are immediately like, you got to get some muscle on you. But 5'10", 150 is what I'd call myself. And again, really like pretty bad news. But I wouldn't worry about that.
Yep. Yeah. His when he was in the DSL, he had a 100.7 90th, and complex he was getting like 103 last year. As an 18-year-old, that's pretty good. He's like barely sub major league levels when he was a 17 and an 18-year-old. So something to keep in mind. And he's been rated. He's hit a 111.8 max EV, which is pretty good. He did that last year in complex. On the radar.
I bet he's not 150 pounds then. I don't know if.
Yeah, I know you're not going to hit the ball that hard if you're only 150 pounds. So
I wonder what my max EV is. I play in a wood bat league out here in South Bend, Indiana. I probably max out around 70, but
yeah, I've never done it. I wouldn't know. Number 3, this is a guy I really like, Bo Davidson. Bo Davidson was in my top. Both these guys were in my top 150 last time. Bo Davidson is in the. I think I've got him in the top 100 this time. Let me see where I've got him. I got him currently at 87. So, Bo Davidson, fun player. I likened him. I threw my comp on him last time as a Grady Sizemore, or not Grady Sizemore. Who was it? I'm trying to remember it offhand instead of actually looking it up. Let me look it up. But he's got a 103 hit, 102 discipline, 107 speed, and 112 power. So over 100 and everything. It's always a nice thing to have.
Here are the comps from the Tool. Some big names.
Buxton. Jackson Merrill. I like that. Yeah, Buxton, Jackson Merrill. You don't like Jake Myers too much, but even Lou Bob is all right because that at least that's showing the tools. So the comp I had on him was actually Curtis Granderson is the comp that I had thrown on him.
Deep,
Grandy.
Deep.
Yeah. I always do, man. I always like look at video and I do side by sides.
I was gonna say he must swing the bat like the guy. Why would you even be thinking of Curtis Granderson unless you saw a swing?
Yep, that's why. I always do side by sides on swings and stuff like that. So
let's see what your. Oh, also the face. He looks a little bit like. Actually, he looks a little bit like Didi Gregorius in that picture. But let's see.
Yeah, we got to confirm my swings here. Yeah, only one hit there.
All right, well, that's all right. Across the board, strong, at least a 102 and everything. Gotta like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But you're thinking, do they promote to the majors like slowly as well, or are they? I don't know. I don't know this stuff. And the Giants haven't seemed to have like a really big time prospect anytime recently. But are they one of the slower organizations to get guys to the majors?
Bryce Eldridge, they moved pretty quick, so that's the one guy that you would fall back on. He moved very fast. Mm-hmm. But Bo Davidson played AA last year, so you would think that he'll be at AAA to start this season. And there's a chance that he is added to the roster this year. I think that there's probably a 50% chance he makes the majors this year.
Okay. Yeah, 18, 19, and 114 games. So a 2020, I don't know, what's that, 23 pace or something like that? Pretty good. So
Yeah, I mean, really, this is the thing to think about for the Giants is you got Ramos in left, and then in center and right, you're going to have some combination of like Jung Hoo Lee, who's always hurt, Luis Matos, who is like meh, and then Drew Gilbert. So all it takes is for like one of those guys to fail or get hurt, and then Bo Davidson might be your next up there.
yeah, Julio Ramos like really sucked in the second half of last year, so I could see him kind of losing the job too. Doesn't seem like anybody's like a total lock on that team.
Yeah, the outfield is kind of wide open unless they add someone, I would say. I mean, there are rumors that they're going to be in on Kyle Tucker, so we'll see. Number 2 is Joswar Gonzalez. So Joswar Gonzalez was the top international player from last year. You might also see him listed as Joswar de Jesus Gonzalez because when he was first signed, he went by that name.
Of Jesus. Joswar of Jesus Gonzalez.
Yes, he is of Jesus.
He did not make the dashboards, so we're showing his MLB page.
Yeah, his pictures here. So my grades on him, because I had him in the top 100 last time even. So my last update, I had him at 95. And in this newest update, I'll tell you where I currently have him ranked. I have him all the way up at 42. So I'm getting kind of high on him because in the Toolshed mock, he was picked very early, I want to say, by Jeff Ponce. And I was like, okay, I'm going to have to bump him now because people are on him because he's now in pro ball instead of just in DSL. So you won't have any F scores on him. Yeah, look at that swing. He's got a good swing. You're not going to have any F scores on him because he was DSL only. But in the DSL, he hit 288, 404, 455, walked more than he struck out, 4 home runs with 33 steals. And he had a 79% contact, which is good for DSL. So really good skills kind of across the board here. Switch hitting shortstop. And it's really easy to look at him and just think of Leo DeVries because Leo DeVries is like kind of similar. Switch hitting shortstop, similar build, like really good at everything. And Leo DeVries is like the last guy to kind of do that and like has a similar body type. So it's easy to look at him and be like, oh, that's kind of like Leo DeVries. Like he's basically like the next Leo DeVries here. I give him a 45 out of 55 on the hit, a 50 out of 60 on the plate approach, a 40 out of 60 on the power, and a 60 out of 65 on the speed. So this is a guy who has above average tools across the board. Young kid, shortstop, switch hitter. So like the comp I threw on him last time for fun was Wander Franco. But yeah, I mean, a Dominican switch hitting shortstop who's good at everything. So, I don't know. Wander Franco, and he kind of has a similar stance if you were looking at the stance when you were showing the video.
And if he had a 16-year-old girlfriend, he'd be fine because he's only 18. So that wouldn't
be that he's still good for a few months here until you right. As long as they're 16, not 15. Number 1 here is Bryce Eldridge. So Bryce Eldridge in the majors now, big power hitting prospect here. His major league sample size was really small. I wouldn't give any credence to any of his sample size. It was not good, but he didn't even have. I don't even think he only had 28 plate appearances. So it's like, who cares? He had 28 plate appearances, John, with a 188 BABIP. So I think we can completely write off his major league debut to date. But minor league matters. So let's look at his minor league stuff.
383 expected WOBA in the majors on only a handful of balls in play, it looks like. But okay.
Yeah. So in the minors this year, in only 102 games, 384 at bats, he had 25 bombs. Last year, he had 23 bombs and 446 at bats. So pretty good stuff here for power. You got to love the 108.5 90th, 95.7 average EV, almost a 115 max EV. So big power here, big time power. Gets comped a lot to Matt Olson. Pretty easy to do that comp, right? Like set with lower contact rates, 68% contact. Big lefty first baseman with tons of power, 6'7", 240 pounds. So you see here that the comps they threw on him, Nick Kurtz, Tristan Casas. Hopefully there's a little more contact in there than the Casas. So those are, Kurtz is a nice comp. But I think Kurtz probably has a better hit, and Eldridge is not going to come up with that kind of hit tool that Kurtz has. So I think maybe like the Matt Olson, like if you get like a 240 batting average with like 30, 35 bombs. I think that's kind of like what you should be looking for from Bryce Eldridge.
Can you stay in the lineup with a 32% K rate in the majors? I mean, I guess if you're hitting a ton of homers, but that's a little bit alarming.
Well, they need power too. The Giants, it's hard to come by to get power in that stadium, especially for lefties.
Yeah.
Like that is the biggest concern, is that stadium is terrible for lefty hitters. Like we saw Brandon Belt, who always had really good EVs, just kind of turn into a 20 homer guy there. Hopefully Bryce Eldridge at 6'7", 240 pounds is too big and has too much power for the stadium and the wind from the bay to hold him in. So that's the concern, is like stadium here with Eldridge, I think. But look at that. Boom.
It's a good example, though. That's like
easy power.
Routine
But
fly out.
that didn't get out. Yeah, that didn't even get out of the ballpark. So
that's too bad.
Yeah, that's the biggest.
It's too bad
concern.
when your first highlight's a fly out, sack fly. It's not great. But yeah, you didn't get much of a chance, just a couple weeks. So
yeah. But that's number one, Bryce Eldridge. So there's your San Francisco Giants. You got anything on this team as a whole, John?
I'm interested in the ADP. Let's see what the high stakes drafters think about him. Oh, that's pretty aggressive. Top 350 ADP here lately. So people are buying in on him. I guess he probably profiles to make the team out of camp, and it would seem to be hard for him not to hit a good number of home runs. But yeah, I'd be a little bit worried about getting platooned and maybe striking out like 40% of the time early on and maybe get demoted again. So probably not something I'd do, but yeah, you don't find too many guys with that kind of power potential. So high risk, high reward, I say, is probably a fair thing to say.
Yeah, for sure. So that's the Giants, and thank you for watching, listening, whatever way you consume the content. Please subscribe to the MLB Data Warehouse so you can use the tools on your own. So go ahead, subscribe, press the button now. Worth the money. You'll win your league. Follow John at JohnPGH. Follow me at Fantasy Aceball, and we will see you next time on the next podcast. We'll talk about the Kansas City Royals.
Goodbye.
See ya.